toward the beginning of entrepreneurship, it is sort of about weighing the ROI on some things that you're paying for and kind of reallocating funds, when it's
Hmm.
still a little bit tight.
I think a great tip if you're just starting out is to do as much for free as you possibly can. There's a
Yeah.
ton of trial apps, free apps, and stuff because it gets quite pricey. Welcome to Unplugged, the tech podcast for digital entrepreneurs. I am one of your hosts, Brooke, the founder of the Sober Biz Collective.
Hey, podcasters. I'm Nate Kelly, best-selling author and founder of Pod Studio. If you're looking for tips, tools, and tech on how to utilize podcasting for your business, you're in the right spot. Let's get unplugged.
So when you do your client calls, do you have a Zoom subscription? And
Yeah. So typically, like client calls, I'll typically use Zoom, depending whether or not like where I am in the coaching process with clients. Like if I think that it's something educational that I can use with other people, we may jump onto StreamYard because it's easier to like throw up a document or add like a video, put me down in the corner and pull up my Canva, things like that. But if it's just like a discovery call or like a, random coaching session, catch up conversation, we use Zoom.
very cool. Should we talk about all the subscriptions?
Yes, yes. Gosh, the timing is perfect because this week I sat down because you know, log into my bank account. This is probably, not sound financial advice, but I log into my bank account and I see all of these charges over the last month, subscriptions that I forgot about, subscriptions I'm not using anymore, subscriptions that don't make sense now that we can kind of combine different platforms, and StreamYard is one of those ones that kind of is a little more universal and uh, you know user friendly for different aspects of the business. So I sat down, wrote out in my planner all of the subscriptions that I got charged for this month, pros, cons, if I can use that feature on another platform, and we downgraded this week at Pod Studio. So we kept StreamYard. I did keep the pro version of CapCut. I used the free version of Zoom now because my discovery calls are 30 minutes. Like,
Mm.
40 minutes is plenty for me on Zoom. And I feel like there was one more. Oh, I have the pro version of Canva. That's kind of crucial for me.
Yeah.
And of course my website through Wix. But those are now my baseline subscriptions. I think I've gotten rid of everything else. Who knows? Something may pop up in June, but yeah, that's where I'm standing with subscriptions.
So what do you find? What did you let go of?
I let go of Adobe
Oh,
because
that's a
I
hard one to
was
let go of.
using it. What? Yeah, I was using Final Cut for some editing, and of course, like PDFs and documents and things like that. But I found like I'm sort of more drawn to CapCut these days. I've kind
Yeah.
of, enrolled in YouTube University as far as like tutorials and like pro version of editing through CapCut, and I really love it. So
Mhm.
got rid of Adobe, got rid of Dropbox. Sort of pricey for their monthly.
Yeah, I think Adobe here, Canadian, it's like $77 a month.
Well, we
But
had
what I
your
find
pro tip that we
Yes.
talked about before, which is genius.
Yes. Yeah, so I've been riding that pretty hard and just getting the 50% off discount, so it's like about $40 a month.
Yeah,
But,
yeah,
that's still a lot. Like, I mean, from what I can do in CapCut and what I can do in Canva, I don't really need Adobe anymore, but I've had, like, such a hard time letting it go, and
I
every time
know.
I try and let it go, it's like, "Do you want a free 3 months?" And I'm like, "Yes." So I end up
God.
always back on the train.
Yeah,
But I find there's, like, some things I just need, I need Adobe for, design-wise. Still, I feel like all of those other tools are gonna they just keep getting better and better and better, and there's, like, so much more you can do much, much easier with, like, CapCut now in terms of editing, where you don't need, like, After Effects and all these other apps to, like, make this one
Right.
thing happen, you know?
Yeah, that's the other thing, like weighing out what sort of is universal and that you can utilize for more than just one feature, and trying
Mhm.
to combine those things. Part of uh, the reason, or uh, the reason behind me diving into that is because I'm looking into doing more paid social media advertising to generate
Mm.
qualified leads for the podcast launch accelerator coaching program that I offer, and some other one-on-one options that I have for clients. So I wanted to free up, some of my assets or some of my revenue to utilize for paid advertising. So that was part of the reason behind it, and I was able to do that. So definitely, especially toward the beginning of entrepreneurship, it is sort of about weighing the ROI on some things that you're paying for, and kind of reallocating funds, when it's
Mhm.
still a little bit tight.
I think a great tip if you're just starting out is to do as much for free as you possibly can. There's a
Yeah.
ton of trial apps, free apps, and stuff because it gets quite pricey. Those subscriptions add up so quickly, and I know I've personally wasted a lot of money, like, trying
Oh,
out different
guilty.
apps and tools and things and even equipment and stuff, so whatever you can do, with the least, like, that you have, sometimes having those parameters actually can help you be more creative too because you've got these, like, walls to work in.
So true.
When sky's the limit, sometimes I get stuck, you know what I mean? When I'm with a client, they're like, "I don't know what my budget is, just let me know," and it's like, "Oh, man, I could do anything," and
I
you
know.
get in that analysis paralysis thing, right? Um, yeah, so definitely, like, figuring that out. I know my first website I actually made on Canva for free and then, like, got a GoDaddy URL for, like, I don't know, like, $13 and just, like, redirected it to the Canva link, so it wasn't even, like, a real website, but I just wanted to show, like, my design style and what it could look like when someone with money is doing this.
Well, then also your client's going to appreciate, like, hey, we saved some money here. Like, as far as your budget goes, we've got some money to play with now. They're going to appreciate that you're,
Yeah.
looking out for their best interest as well.
100%, and that's actually why I set most of my clients up on Wix, or Squarespace. Squarespace has a lot of tools too, but Wix specifically offers so much for what you pay. Like, you can run your entire business through them. You can do your invoicing at the end of the year. Like, it makes taxes so much easier when everything's like done through one space and you're not opening 15 different apps to see where your revenue is coming
Yes.
in. And then they have just so many tools if you wanted to build out like programming or if you wanted to build out events or whatever it is, like you can do it all in one. You don't have to keep downloading all these apps. So that's one of the reasons I really like that one. That's definitely worth the investment.
Hey there, future podcaster. I'm Nate Kelly, and today I'm thrilled to introduce you to something that is going to transform your podcasting journey. Are you ready to turn your passion for podcasting into a thriving reality? Let me introduce you to the Podcast Launch Accelerator. Imagine a 6-month mentorship program where you get personalized one-on-one coaching, an action plan tailored to your goals, and a comprehensive podcast growth blueprint. But wait, there's more. We're throwing in exclusive interviews with industry experts, a professional podcast success toolkit, and access to our monetization masterclass. At the end of 6 months, we guarantee you a spot in the top 10%, appearance on top iTunes or Spotify charts, and a monetized podcast with host-read ads. Ready to launch your podcast? Click the link in today's show notes to secure your spot in the Podcast Launch Accelerator. That's a good question, because this year will be like my first full year of only my income from my business. So what do I expect? Like, does Wix generate something and send me like tax information that I need, or is that all on me to dig around and find it?
It depends on how you set it up. For me, I used to work through PayPal pretty exclusively. I would invoice through PayPal. I would because I was dealing with US, clients, I
Mm,
can switch and get paid in US through PayPal, um, which works really well, except for they take fees,
yeah,
and I found it
it's
really
annoying.
hard to do, like, a month end with PayPal because what they took out of my bank account or what went into my bank account was different than this piece and whatever. I just felt with Wix, they do take fees, but the way it's invoiced just makes things a lot easier for my brain to figure out at the end of the
Yeah.
year. So it depends on where you do your invoicing. So I do all my invoicing through Wix now, and that just made it easier for me to just open one app. This is where all my money's coming from. And then I also use something called Wave app. And I don't know if it's a Canadian thing or if it's North American, but what I can do with that is connect my bank account directly to the Wave app, and it will itemize all the things that I've spent in my business bank account and all the
Beautiful.
money that's come in. And it just like creates a report for me for the end of the year that tells me, like, oh, this is how much money you made, this is how much money you spent, this is what you spent it on. And then some things can't be categorized. So I have to like sit down and be like, okay, this was this, this was this, this was this, and like categorize it myself. So
Oh,
it's never going
yeah.
to be an easy thing. It's always
Yeah,
worth it to, I think the first investment I would make with someone that you're going to pay is like your financial stuff.
for sure.
Um, I used to work as an accountant very briefly. And so
I
I've got some
love
knowledge.
I love when this shit comes up. You're like, "Yeah, I dabbled in this. I was a, thoracic surgeon for 6 months in the '90s."
It was the early 2000s
It
and
was
I was very, very underqualified. I think I was 18 or 19 years old and I was working with like a cheese farm, a cheese and blueberry farm.
I am obsessed with that.
And they're like, "Okay, here's our accounts receivable, here's our accounts payable." And I'm like, "What does that mean?"
Oh my god. My
So I
sister
got to
works in
learn a lot.
accounting, and
Oh, good.
she works for a company, like like an adult toys. Are you familiar with the Lion's Den in Canada?
I'm not, no.
It's like, they have brick and mortar stores for, like, whips, chains, dildos, that sort of thing. Um,
Very fun.
so we always have a good laugh when we see, like, an invoice come in, for, like, a 12-inch double dong dildo. She'll send me a picture of it, and we have a good laugh. But a
I think
cheese and
that's the
blueberry farm is pretty cool too.
I it's a much, less exciting place to be
Yeah.
an accountant, I'm sure.
Oh, man.
Man, I don't know, yeah, wow. What
Uh-huh.
what
Threw
a way
that
to make
at
accounting fun. Yeah.
you. For sure, never a dull moment, there's always a story at the end of the workday.
Yeah, so in terms of, accounting apps, I know QuickBooks is kind of the big one out here that everybody seems to use, and it works really well as well, and you can connect your bank account to it, but it's not free. Wave app is totally free. How they make their money is if you use their app for invoicing, then they take a percentage like any other kinda
Cool.
invoicing app.
I
Yeah.
think that's how I've been invoicing through Stripe, and
Okay.
that they do the same. Like, there's
Yeah.
never an invoice or a monthly charge. It's like, each invoice is, uh, sort of pays for its own fees and processing.
Yeah.
So, I'm assuming that I will generate all of my year-end stuff through there. But, like, categorizing you brought that up, like, categorizing business expenses, and what can I write off and things like that will be a new process too. Fun.
Oh, it's so fun. It's so fun. There's an app for Canadians, again, I don't know about US, but, it's called Wealth Simple, and
Mm.
that's what I used to do my personal taxes at the end of the year, and because I'm a freelancer, they kinda just mesh together. So,
Ah,
what I make for my personal tax, and my business tax, I do them all in the same kind of forms. So, I still need to have, like, a proper accountant look at everything and make sure I haven't shot myself in the foot with the
yeah.
finances,
I don't want the
but,
tax man coming after me.
yeah. but it made it really simple. So with that app, it's online and it's also free, but at the end they ask you for like a tip. So if you are getting like a $6,000 return, you have the option of being like, "Oh, I want to send you 50 bucks or I want to send you 10 bucks
Mm,
for this software that I get to use." But I've done it for free for like 3 years, and then I think this year I spent like $15 cuz I just felt bad.
yeah. Let me not be a mooch.
I should get an affiliate link for Wealth Simple. I wonder if they have that.
Yeah. I feel like we talk about so many resources and
Yeah.
platforms, you know what I mean? We should have some
Ooh.
partnerships coming up soon.
Can I share a beef?
Oh,
It's
please.
it's actually with one of my favorite platforms with Wix. Hello, Wix.
Uh, this is one of your biggest fans, Wick, so this must be big.
It is. So they have an affiliate program that I've applied for 3 times now,
Yeah.
and I keep getting this email saying, "We have your application and you'll receive an email if you've been accepted." And then I hear nothing
Hmm.
after that. So I'm like, Am I not accepted?" So then I go to reapply and they're like, "Oh, your email's already in our system. You already have a link, blah, 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 blah." I'm like, "I haven't received a link, Wix. Can we figure this out?" So I just reapplied again. I've gone to their customer service, put in a little thing. What were
Put
those
in a
called? Not a
ticket.
tag, a ticket. That's the one. And nothing. I hear nothing, nothing back from them. So apparently I'm a Wix affiliate, but I don't know how to access any information so I can share your content and make money off of it. And so I'm just doing it for
Oh,
free. And I feel like I should just send you a bill, Wix.
for real. The amount of users and profiles and pages that you generate, shit,
Yeah.
missing out.
I know. And so I am an affiliate for Squarespace, which is really cool. If anybody out here is like trying to be a web designer, these two platforms have set you up really, really well. Wix has now also created this thing that generates like videos for your clients. So when you give your like goodbye guide, we're done, you can also send them a package of all these videos of like how to use their website. And like I don't have to create them. They're already there for me to
Oh,
put together for
that's
my
so
client to send.
nice.
It's so amazing. And then like the Circle app on Squarespace gives you this community of different web designers you can connect with and ask questions to, and just feel like you're a part of this like really cool, weird digital design community.
So you can like pull different videos from their library and package them up together. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And they just came out with a template option. So right now I'm working on setting up a template shop and I'm going to be able to do that all through Wix. So easy now. So it's just really cool. I love how they keep evolving to make
Mm.
things practical for
Yeah.
their users. Yeah.
It's like every time we record, they have a new feature that you're like jazzed about.
Yeah.
That's amazing, though. I mean, you really have to these days with the amount of options that are out there. It's like if you're behind the ball, people move on. So
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad to see they recognize that and keep evolving. Tech talk, tech talk.
Not to be
Well,
confused with TikTok.
not to be confused with TikTok, tech talk. I have had a fun couple weeks playing around with some things. So this beauty right here is so I didn't realize it's the Shure M7 Plus. So basically, it's like the Gen 2 of the Shure MV7, I think, which is what you have. So they're pretty much the same. I think most of the updates or all of the updates from my research were just with the software that comes with it. So uh, with any of the newer Shure microphones, it comes with a QR code, or you can download drivers on your desktop that pretty much serve as like a soundboard or like a mixer for your microphone that you can play with your levels, your equalizer. You can get additional gain or less. based on your voice and really just kind of craft the perfect sound for your voice. This what you're listening to are the factory settings. This is out of the box. Um, but there's just something, I was using the Rode PodMic USB for a while. This microphone outshines the PodMic by 100%. There's just something like warmer about it and crisp and clear. I'm obsessed with it. The compatibility with the MacBook is immaculate. I'm running a USB-C directly into the MacBook. The iPhone 15 for the continuity camera, everything's just, I can airdrop files from the phone to CapCut on my desktop. Game changer for content creation, for video podcasting. Um, just obsessed over here, really. Been like a little tech nerd geeking out over here. And I couldn't be happier. You noticed right away, Brooke and I did a recovery virtual event together. And she's like, wait a minute, new gear. We need to talk about it. So I saved that for today's tech talk. But this Shure microphone just um, is peak. We've talked about it on this podcast. I've tried probably 100 microphones. Number one by
Mm.
far.
Yeah, I'm so jealous. They don't even exist in Canada yet, so
Really?
yeah.
Oh, I
I was like
did see it. It was like a very limited, even in the US. I got it
oh, wow.
through Best Buy and they were very limited. Um,
Yeah.
but highly recommend it if you have access,
Yeah, it sounds so good. I feel like the pod mic is a bit more tinny, if that makes sense.
for sure.
Yes.
It's tinny.
This
It picks up things like if you're moving your boom arm, which defeats the whole purpose of a boom arm. It's just very like kind of open, if that makes sense, and
Yeah.
tinny for sure.
I love it. Yeah, I got so jazzed when I saw all your new stuff. How are you liking the switch from PC to Mac?
It definitely it's a learning curve for sure. I used a Mac for years for work, so I was strictly MacBook. I think I had a MacBook Pro for probably almost a decade. And then when I started podcasting, I found that a lot of the mics and like the USB connections and some of the camera equipment that I used was more compatible with Windows. So for like the last 5-ish years, I was, with Windows equipment. But I'm still like getting used to, everything feels backwards because like the minimize and the escape is on the opposite side and like the scroll on the mouse is opposite, but a small price to pay for um, kind of the comfort of that Mac security and the lightning quick speed and all of the other benefits. So it feels good to be back.
Back to Mac.
Yeah,
How do you like so you're using the iPhone 15 for your camera?
yeah,
Very cool. So I love that that's one really cool thing about the Macs is like just plugging in your camera and then all of a sudden you
yes.
can use it. Your
It's
phone
so
as the camera. That's
seamless.
so cool.
It's
Yeah.
yeah, simple. Like I said, airdropping all files, so it eliminates that like the jump drives and or uploading shit to a Google Drive, which could take hours, in some cases if
Mhm.
it's long form content. So, yes, I have simplified my setup for sure. Simplified in a way, but
I love it.
upgraded and uh, pretty cool over here.
Sounds like you're doing that with a lot of things. Like you simplified your apps, you're
I know.
simplifying your
Yes.
setup. You're just like
Yes.
getting more refined.
Exactly. Refined, finding things that are, you know, useful in more ways than one. And yeah, ready for some growth here at Pod Studio for sure.
I love it.
Thanks so much for hanging out today. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube for all of our video content at Unplugged Tech Pod.
And join us in our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/unpluggedpodcast. Also, make sure to throw us a 5-star review if you are finding this content valuable for you and your digital business. We accept all forms of reviews: Apple Podcast, Spotify follows, YouTube, telling your grandmother about us.
And make sure to share the episode with one person in your life who may find it valuable. And we'll see you next time on Unplugged.
I think it's good enough, and we're just going to keep getting better.